I love that music. Thank you very much. Hello, welcome back to Loose Women. Nice to see you again. We're having a fine old time here in the studio.
I love this song.
Yeah, I love that song. It's Olivia's favourite. Still to come this afternoon, we're celebrating 10 years of Love Island, hence the music, and there is Amy Hart. She's here to discuss that and talking about motherhood and how she moved on from Curtis after that famous fallout. It might be the 10th anniversary of the current version of Love Island, but the original series began 20 years ago, and look who was the host then.
Hello and welcome to Paradise, where thankfully it's not raining anymore.
Yesterday it poured down all day, but if you think rain stopped play, you'd be very, very wrong.
Now, it all started when you voted Abby into the Love Shack, which sent Nikki back to Paul. Did you have any idea what you were doing?
Oh my God, my voice hasn't changed a bit, has it?
We're going to be talking all about Love Island. Before we do that, there's a brand new competition up for grabs. You could win £8,000 a month for an entire year. Somebody on the end let us down there. One person. You know who you are. Lisa Snowden has got all the details. You need to practice it.
There's a brand new cash prize up for grabs this week that will totally transform your life. Now imagine getting a huge £8,000 in your bank account every month for a whole year. That's right, every single month for a year, we'll transfer £8,000 into your bank account. But this is a one-week special competition, so you'll need to be quick. Here's Jeff calling winners to tell them they've won a trip to Cyprus.
Keith, I've got some good news for you. You have won one of our bonus prizes, which means you're going to Mari in Ayia Napa, courtesy of EasyJet Holidays. How do you feel?
Oh, very good, brilliant.
And you can be living it up with a huge £8,000 hitting your bank account every month for a whole year. Here's how you enter. Text cash to 62525. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. Go to the website, entries cost £2. Call 09068 782525. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and phone number to CD25 PO Box 7558 Derby DE10NQ. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close on Friday the 20th of June at 3 p.m. We may be calling the winners live between 7:30 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. after all entry routes close. Good luck!
Thank you very much. Yes, good luck with that. The Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, has announced a full national inquiry into the rape and sexual abuse of thousands of girls by grooming gangs after previously resisting calls to do so. A new report by Baroness Casey, which is due out any moment, will explicitly link the issue of street grooming to men mainly of Pakistani and Bangladeshi origin. The report will state that white British girls were institutionally ignored for fear of racism. Now, former detective turned whistleblower Maggie Oliver appeared on Good Morning Britain today talking about the report and the new inquiry alongside two survivors, Jade and Chantel.
Why do another inquiry when you already know what's going on? You've known for years, you know, put the recommendations in what the taxpayers have just spent all that money on.
And what did Baroness Casey say when you said that to her?
She actually, I don't trust very many people. But she got in touch with me in February and asked to meet me. I've had 3 meetings with her now, one-to-one. But when she came to me and asked me to pull together a group of survivors from all over the country, including Jade, including Chantel, that's when I trusted her.
Right.
That's very interesting hearing Maggie Oliver saying that, because we've had her on this show many times and she rarely says that she trusts anybody. She said there's been massive cover-ups, you know, people just ignoring what's been going on for so long. So it was heartening to hear her say, actually, I do think that Baroness Casey might now make a difference. What do you think when you hear those young women, those survivors who were, you know, 10 and 12? They are just, you know, that's just a small representation of the abuse that's going on across the country, not just in the places that the report was talking about initially.
The more I learn about this story, the more horrified I am. When you think it can't get worse, it does. And I've followed Maggie for a long time of her work, and she's such an incredible person, and she has just fought and fought for years to get to this point. And the fact that, you know, that they didn't seek justice for these girls. All the reports show that these girls were treated with contempt and with no empathy from these, you know, police officers and the people that were meant to be looking after them. Social workers didn't open up these cases. They were kind of minimised. It's shocking. And, you know, to turn around now and say, well, we put it to one side because we didn't want to inflame racial tensions, it's diabolical, and it's just not, it's not an excuse. Like, how are we here all this time later and there still hasn't been justice for these girls? And they were kids, some of them.
Yeah.
I think that's what she was saying. You know, it's just another inquiry, isn't it? It's how long is that going to take? Like, what's going to be done now for these girls while this is still obviously happening across the country? Obviously, the authorities are looking at these young women, these victims, and just saying, well, that's just a lifestyle choice. No, it's not a lifestyle choice. Grooming is a very long-term thing. That it takes a long time for these girls to get into this situation. You know, you're out in a park, you're at a vape shop, you're in these situations, you meet a guy, and, you know, he's, you know, offers to buy you a drink. Next thing you know, you're drunk. Next thing you know, you're doing drugs. Then you're hooked. Then it's prostitution. Like, this is how this happens. It's not a class thing.
But
this can
girls,
happen to middle-class girls. It can happen to your granddaughters, your daughters. It can happen to anybody.
But the difference is, would they listen if it was a middle class or an upper class? Probably.
But I think there's a lot of women in this situation that it's happening to, and they just haven't got any justice.
I think the feeling was very much so that, of course, you're absolutely right. It doesn't just happen. You know, it can happen to middle-class girls. It can happen to girls with money. But this was particularly happening to girls who were very, very vulnerable in care homes. Nobody really looking out for them, Nadia. And that has been a massive problem because people were saying, where were the social workers? What about the people running the care homes? And these girls would disappear for 3 days. Like, where was the care? 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old. And they were labelled as well, nobody really cares about them. They probably know what they're doing.
And the misogyny that played out towards Maggie as well. I mean, Maggie is the most phenomenal person, isn't she? She should be awarded to the hill. We've had her on here many times. She has never stopped. She has her conscience, her moral clarity throughout when she's had so many kicks. Thank God for her.
Well, she left her job because of it, didn't she?
Her job that she
Detective
loved.
Constable at Greater Manchester Police, and she...
And we lose an excellent police officer, an excellent police officer like that. And the thing is, you know, to go back to the inquiry, when I do tend to go a bit, when I hear the word inquiry, because it often feels like it costs a load of money and it's a way of pushing us back, so eventually time passes and people aren't as enraged or impassioned. But the fact that Maggie is so happy with Baroness Casey, that is great. Because what do we want from this? We want investigations reopened, which they've said too many of them were closed too quickly, so hopefully that happens. But I think for those individual girls, you want the validation. You want the validation that people said this was wrong, what was done to you was wrong and it wasn't your fault. But also, what I want from the inquiry is I want clear strategies. Because let's not forget, there is a huge problem within the police about any kind of sexual assault. This isn't just about Pakistani grooming gangs. You know, there are grooming gangs, there are white grooming gangs. The recent one in Scotland was just terrific, right across the country.
And still going on.
Most women I know will not talk to the police if they're sexually assaulted because they think, well, what's the point? So this is bigger than this as well. But hopefully, out of this, lessons will be learnt and things will change.
Well, actually, I think they're
sorry if I'm a little bit cynical.
Yeah, I think they're looking for more than just lessons learned. They want people to be brought to account.
Yeah, well, exactly. If those investigations open, these girls need to see those guys in court and given sentences.
Yeah. And actually, Jade and Chantal, who were on this morning, I was watching them, and Susanna Reid asked them, you know, if these men were brought to justice and get a prison sentence, how would you feel about them? One of them said, that's what I want. You know, I have waived anonymity. I've talked about this. I've told everybody. I've talked to politicians. I've talked to the police. I've talked to everyone. And still nothing has happened to him. The other girl just went... It's, 16 years I've been living with this.
Can't blame her.
She said it's, ruined my life, and so there's
But also another
a
thing
lot.
that you told me this morning, Ruth, that I found so moving was that one of that Maggie had been saying about, when you just dismiss these girls as just wanting sex or prostitutes, these were girls that wanted affection.
Because she said, Maggie Oliver was explaining, she said in care homes, the staff and social workers are not allowed to touch the children. They can't give them a hug if they're crying. Same as teachers and things now, not allowed to do that. So she said these young women, young girls, are starved of affection, and the groomers know that.
And it begins with affection.
What they start off with is, you're so pretty, and this girl said, I thought I was his girlfriend. I thought he loved me.
They all say that.
They use the words. She said, no, that's what they want. They want love.
And that's what groomers do everywhere. It's not just these gangs, it's
But we
everywhere.
said Baroness Casey's report is due out very, very soon. So I'm sure we will be talking about this again. And let's hope that we keep talking and it isn't just kicked down the road and nothing done. And thank you, obviously, to people like Jade and Chantal who still continue to speak out, and Maggie Oliver, of course. OK, we'll take another break now. After that, Amy Hart will be talking about a decade of Love Island. See you in a couple of minutes.